Hello, good afternoon. My name is Catherine Charles, and my pronouns are she, they, and I'm a breathwork facilitator. Um, I decided to put together this video because I thought with the fashionability of breathwork, the fashionability of working with breath, I wanted to put together something to put some energy out to help people make a conscious, informed choice about the space that they work in and perhaps some resourcing that one can do as an individual to help you work out if something feels safe or something doesn't feel safe. So, before you go any further, I'll just give you some information about myself because you find yourself watching this video and find yourself thinking, well, who the hell are you? Who did you train with? And who are you to tell me what looks like safe? The point is, I'm not anyone to tell you what looks like safe. You are the person to determine what is a safe environment for you. However, there are some cues that your body gives you, gifts you with, which can help you make that informed choice and actually check in with yourself and make that informed choice every time you decide to do something. Okay, so this practice will help you facilitate eating, will help you facilitate other people's moods, will help you facilitate for yourself to know when you are able to relax and let go and consciously connect with your breath. So I'm going to tell you a bit about myself. Um, I've told you my name. This here, who's going to come into the picture now, is my whippet. She will make various appointments, I am sure, throughout because I've come into a different room and she thinks that's a cue for food. So I do something different, it's sending signal to her. That's a perfect example of how we send signals all the time. And a lot of the way in which we communicate and send signals, and not just through our body and through our body's movement, but from what our body's movement stems from, which ultimately for me as a resonance is breath. Okay, that's what all the modalities that I've done and all the modalities that I've met myself and lost myself in have in common is they involve breath. So I trained with breathing space. Um, there, I was very, very fortunate in choosing breathing space to train with. Makesomebreathingspace.com. I'll put it at the bottom here, along with my details and pronouns as well when I go back and edit this. Offer a 12-month course, which equates to 400 hours. And there's a foundation course which needs to be met before. So there's a prerequisite, the foundation course, just exploring different methods of breath work and what they are typically, atypically used for. Okay. Um, and lastly, that culminates in introducing you to conscious connected breath. And the first part of the course is very much dedicated to holding space safely, the frame of the breath work, the facilitation part of breath work, a facilitation type of approach of any seminar. And then, we vary into there's trauma, there's respiratory actions, there's anatomy, there's physiology, there's sexuality, there is creativity, there is music, there is personal safety, there is code of conduct, there are boundaries. It's a big course. Okay, so after I did this course, I was like, that course has really changed my life, which it really did. How can I help people meet their breath, or meet themselves exactly where they are? And that's really what I do. We use breath in various different guises. Um, Sometimes we when I work with someone, I will be completely led by what they bring to the table, and they say, okay, my reason for working with you is because I think you'll be able to hold me and facilitate me in this way, and I'm really interested in exploring more about this. Sometimes someone will come to me and they won't know anything, and they'll be like, I just want to find out more about breathwork. It's fantastic. I went to a breathwork camp while I was on holiday. I had the most amazing experience. I cried for 2 hours. I shouted. I felt so liberated and free. Um, I want to get some of that back, some of that personal expression and releasing from the norms of society. And then other times I'll have somebody will come and they'll say, do you know what, actually, I am doing a triathlon. I work on this, I work on that, I've looked at my diet, I've looked at that. I want to know more about what's happening in my body. I want to work more with breath. So wherever we begin, wherever somebody comes to me and meets me, the first thing that I want to do with them is to cover the basics in terms of awareness. First thing I do is tell them a little bit about myself. Um, my journey's been a long one. Um, I started practicing yoga about 26, 27 years ago. Um, very, very hard, very egotistical, very just dynamic. I had to chuck myself in, of course, didn't I? Into the Ashtanga pool, pit of Ashtanga, as I call it. And it is still a beautiful, beautiful, soft discipline. However, um, you find yourself with a lot of different personalities, some of whom are very big personalities. And when you are female, as I identified then, and I was assigned female at birth, and I'm very happy with having been assigned female at birth. But identifying not just as a straight female when there was no words or labels apart from punk. It was a very confusing time for me. So I found breath, and I began to realize that what I found when I found my breath was a place to exist where I felt safe. So that's what we're going to do in this video. we're going to find safety. Find a safety to practice. Now, this can be externally outside of the body, or internally inside of the body. Now, introception, looking internally into the body, is not something that comes easy to a lot of people. A lot of people have to really, really, really work up to it. And then they have to work up to what they actually find, because it's pretty terrifying what could be in here, any genetic abnormalities, and just the fact that, oh my gosh, we're as individual on the inside as we are on the outside. That can be very intimidating and very frightening for some people. So when you arrive at a breath work, a lot of the time, what will happen is you'll maybe be with somebody you know. You suddenly sit down on the mat and you think, oh crap, I know this person, but I'm going to be in possibly one of the most vulnerable states of my life, potentially during this breath work. And very real physiological changes are happening. Am I safe? Okay, so you need to know. It's a bit like I make it sound like a war zone, but I don't mean it's like a war zone. I mean, it has the potential, if things go wrong, to have a catastrophic, immediate effect. So it's important that you check out where the facilitator trained. And they might not have trained in breath work, but they might have trained in yoga and pranayama breath for the last 25 years. They're going to have an incredible amount of experience. Um, Check out that person. If they've worked with bodies for an amount of time, 10 years, 2 years, 2 months, 3 months, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be able to hold you. But do you know what? Look at them, look at their boundaries. Look at their poster, look at their advertising. Have you just been seduced by an image or an appearance or a promise? Okay. Nobody can promise what you're going to find when you meet your breath. They can prepare you and find your baseline. Very much if I'm working with someone on a one-to-one basis, I want to find their baseline. I want to know what, if any, and I'll let you into a secret, what dysfunction or what dysfunctional breathing patterns they have. Okay. Especially when they're relaxed. Yeah. When they're relaxed, the body doesn't lie. It's a bit like, in a way, being a cellular doctor. Yeah. Um, the cells actually will reveal themselves. Yeah. It's like when you say to your dentist, do you clean your teeth twice a day? I don't floss. Yeah. Really? Do you actually? It doesn't matter what you say. Yeah. Your teeth and the state of and the presentation of your gums are telling everyone that. Yeah. Yeah, I eat healthy. That's why I'm 4 stone overweight. Ta-da! Some things just don't add up. Okay. So, and you might approach this and think, God, I'm really bad at this. I'm a really bad judge of character. You are perhaps walking around with a perception of yourself of being a poor judge of a presentation of character. Are you actually a judge of real character, of really what's important? Are you a poor judge of kindness? Most of the time, I don't think people are. My experience is that people aren't. Most people change. There is a subtle shift in someone's shoulders, in their chest, in their diaphragm when someone moves into authenticity. And that's very important to watch. Anybody who is taking a group, a seminar, a something, will know where they are today. Even if it is 2 minutes before you arrived, dragging themselves into the toilet to just take a few breaths. Listen, listen to where they're feeling it. Just centering themselves will make a difference to the room that you walk into. And they'll be watching you. As soon as people turn up to anything that I'm performing or that I'm presenting or that I'm involved with, I'm watching you. I'm watching your subtle cues. Okay? Most of the time, it's all about what you don't tell me as opposed to what you tell me. So, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself in this minute? Let's forget any technique before we approach any technique. Let's look at where we are. I can touch this wall, okay? Uh, It's stone. I can identify that and I can feel it. I can feel this wall as well. There are various prints and pictures around my room. I can take those in. I can look at what I've got on. I've got on something that comforts me. I've got an animal that might come to visit me. Have you got a cat? Have you got a hamster who's going to be making a squeak? Is next door, is there a TV playing? Are there children playing in the street? We don't want to get carried away with the narrative that sits behind the manifestation of noise. We're just using it to balance and find ourselves. We might want something on ourselves. I've got a croquet's a game. Too much Alice in Wonderland. A crocheted blanket here, made by somebody for me, and this covers my nervous system. Yeah, it shrouds my nervous system. It adds weight to it. That's why weighted blankets are good, because they comfort your nervous system. That's why hugs are so good. Yeah, that's why if somebody is totally freaking out, a child, for example, yeah, come at them if they're able, if they need comforting in that way, and rock them. Why babies like to be rocked. You're rocking, you're moving the way their nervous system is coated in that womb space. Now that wound space might have been frightening, so that also might not be, that might terrify them. Being touched might terrify them. You touching yourself might terrify you. You might not be able to go inside. So it's important that you find somewhere that's safe. If you can go inside, there are other places to go. There are other places to see, organs to make connection with, cells to speak to. But you don't know what those cells will hold. Those cells might shift something during the breath work, even during a breath work that is a coherence breath and has a 5 in and 5 out protocol. You're working with that node at the very top of the heart. Yeah, okay. You're making a very real connection. You are there are lots of messages that go to the brain from the heart. Becomes master. Suppose, and in that calmness, in that calm lake that you become, an air bubble comes up. An air bubble which has encapsulated, like a time capsule, trauma. And with the exhale, it releases. With some juddering or some coldness, it releases. Or some tears, it releases. How many people cry during a workout? How many people reach what we call during a workout the edge, the zone? Nervous system is locked in. If you move out of that window of tolerance, maybe you will cry. Maybe when the workout finishes and you relax and you take some water, you come back down, your equilibrium that your body knows is restored, close enough for you to then release. Move with awareness and move with safety. So there are many different ways you can create that safety. I've referenced safety outside of the body. Next time, in part 2, I'm going to talk briefly about resourcing inside the body. It's a never-ending pool. Another way that you can resource is with a noise. I'm going to turn my original sound on. That can tie you back. That can bring you back. Very often, with Yoga Nidra, for example, we will say the process of Yoga Nidra is complete. Harian Tatsat. Now, it's a brain cue. Okay, it's ancient. It speaks to the GABA, to the very ancient parts of the brain. It's to be respected. And the same with lucid dreaming. One way in, one way out. With meditation, with breath work. Unless people know how to resource and the facilitator knows how to ground and guide and doesn't over prescribe or over stock without having angels to watch over people, helpers? Are you safe? There's no right or wrong answer to this question. And at the end of the day, it's quite warm here today, and I don't really need that. But it's one of my favourite colours, and I can feel safe with it. It's a bit like Blanky. Children are fantastic at looking at what makes them safe. And you can also learn a lot from what makes them brave. Yeah? Okay? Because what's made them brave is usually a feeling of safety. So, in conclusion, it was really important for me to feel safe before I could let go or deal with any of my trauma or any of my shit. Yeah? And it's something I feel quite passionately about. Something I feel quite passionately that you are safe. You can't always be safe in your body. Sometimes your body feels like it's betrayed you. Diseases, disorders. We don't realise that that's what bodies do. They age. They become diseased. It's not a failure. It's a pathology. But you can still find safety and joy and love within the most bleak of pathologies, even if one of those pathologies affects the respiratory system. But more on that next time. For the moment, have a think. Think about your safety. Meet yourself in situations and think, I felt comfortable, I felt safe. What did it for me? I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't feel safe. What was it that did that? On the bus, someone being too loud? Someone saying language which you deem to be inappropriate? Well, why is it inappropriate? Why is it making you feel unsafe? Not to say that it's not unsafe, but just do some thinking. But not overthinking. If you think you're going into overthinking, breathe. See you next time. Bye bye.